welcome to this week's video. For this week, I'm going to do my wrap-up for the month of July. I had a pretty good reading month, I would say. 2 ebooks and 2 paperbacks and 1 DNF. But I'm very happy that my ebook slump seems to have been broken, and I've been encountering some ebooks that I've really enjoyed. So we'll get to those, and paperbacks have been good too. Audible have not. Nope, the Audible slump is still going. Unfortunately, I've discovered that I really don't like listening to historical romances on Audible. I don't know why. I have no issue with the English accent in movies and such, but I don't know, it's just the pace of it, or I don't know what it is, but I can't get invested when I'm listening to the narrator when it's a historical romance. It doesn't work for me. I have no problem like reading like on paperback or ebook, but yeah, just does not work for me. So let's get to our ebooks first. And there were 2 ebooks that I finished and enjoyed this past month. Let's get to Her Husband's Harlot by Calloway. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The hero and the heroine are in an arranged marriage. Sorry, the names are not coming to me right now. I apologize. The hero and the heroine are in an arranged marriage, and the wedding night does not go well. I think because maybe the husband does not have a lot of experience deflowering virgins, so it does not go well. And so as a result, their sex life is not great, because she wants to avoid it at all costs, because she does not want a repeat of that first night. But she loves her husband and he loves her. They just can't, they drift apart because they don't have that intimacy between them. And for those of you who follow my Hershey's Chocolate Kisses TV reactions, that's not the name of the show. I can't pronounce the name of the show because I'm an ignorant Canadian girl, but I do reactions for a Turkish drama, Hercai. And in there, I go on and on about how the couple is not as close and as strong as they should be because they're not being intimate with each other. And I don't mean Turkish censors like that it's happening off screen or anything. I mean like on screen, they let it be known that these 2 are not sleeping together. And same thing's happening in this book. And the heroine discovers that the husband is visiting this brothel, and she decides that she's going to go and confront him. But she's going to enter the brothel. She doesn't want to be recognized, so she disguises herself, and he mistakes her for a hooker. He mistakes her for a lady of the night who is employed by the brothel, and she is she's so in love with her husband that the way that he like treats this hooker, this lady of the night, is so different than the way he treats his wife, wherein he doesn't really actually touch his wife if he can avoid it. because he doesn't want her to be afraid of him, and he doesn't want her shrinking from him, and so he avoids it altogether. But with this Lady of the Night, he is passionate, and he awakens those happy pants feelings in her. So they have an enjoyable time together, and him not knowing that that's his actual wife. And the hero's got issues stemming from a childhood, a horrific childhood, and where he was abused, and he ends up killing his abuser. And as he and the wife grow closer, through her deciding that she actually does want to be intimate with her husband, because that was a lot of fun. So she sets about trying to seduce her husband, but he feels guilty about the fact that he went to a hooker. So that pushes him more away from her. Plus now there is somebody who's blackmailing him, threatening him, who knows that he killed his abuser and is threatening to expose him and harm his wife. So he wants to push her away to keep her safe. So there's all kinds of angst and sexy times, and it is a wonderful, wonderful romance. I completely enjoyed it. I cannot recommend enough. My only what brought this to an A minus, what brought this to an A rather than an A plus was the revelation of who was doing the blackmailing. I wanted it to be somebody different. I wanted it to be, I don't want to spoil. I wanted it to be somebody different. So if you've read the book, let me know what you thought of it. And yeah, so that was Her Husband's Harlot by Grace Calloway. Cannot recommend enough. Absolutely loved it. Next, we have Lord of Chance by Erica Ridley. And I've heard a lot of good things about Erica Ridley, and I can't remember if I've read her before. But Lord of Chance I absolutely loved. He is addicted to gambling, and she is on the run from, she's trying to find her father, because her mother was a hooker. Yeah, and we're with hookers, and she is trying to find her father, who's supposedly this wealthy man, because she wants a better life for herself. And so she ends up meeting the hero in a gaming hall and beating him and taking most of his money. And the class differences between them are interesting because he is sort of a high society man, but he has no money. He's poor but he has the title and he has the society acceptance, and he has no money because he keeps gambling it away. I really like how they touched on his gambling problem and how it was a problem and an addiction, and that was ruining his life. She has none of the society acceptance because her mother was a whore, but she's not poor necessarily. She's financially better off than he is, but he's socially better off than she is. So that's sort of where they are. And they meet in a gaming hall, and she takes his money, and they somehow, to protect him, I think, because there's people after him who want to kill him because he owes them money. They pretend to be married, but back then in Scotland, a verbal contract was binding by law, so they were actually legally married. And I just really, really loved their relationship so much. I mean, they started the incredible friendship between them. It was immediately like there wasn't any of this like, oh, I don't like you, but I'm attracted to you, and I hate that you give me happy pants or what have you. They immediately, even though she met him at the tables, there was this instant friendship between them. And just the way that he treated her and cared for her and respected her, and it was just beautiful. It was wonderful, wonderful, the relationship and the friendship and the banter between them. And then it developed into love. And how, she was there for him with his parents, who you totally get how he became addicted to gambling and how he's so financially irresponsible with money when you meet his parents, because his parents are a hot mess. And I don't know, she was more accepting of how his parents treated him than I was. I didn't like how his parents treated him. Like, to me, it felt like his parents only cared about him like what he could bring them financially. That, like, I didn't feel love from his mother or his father for him. I felt like, what can you give me? What can you bring me? How can you bring me more money? That's how I felt. And then he was so there for her when she finds out about her real father and that whole situation, and how they end up resolving his owing the money to the bad people. And I loved it. I loved it, and I loved him, like, going around, like, doing odd jobs, trying to raise the money that he would never have been able to raise in time, because he owed the money to were not willing to give him the time to pay it back, because I guess they didn't believe that he was going to pay it back because of his past reputation. But it really, like, showed how supportive they were of each other. I loved this book so much. I can't even. I mean, absolutely, completely recommend this book. Not even, like, enough. Lord of Chance by Erica Ridley. Absolutely recommend. Go read it now. You will love these two together. And so those were my two ebooks that I read and absolutely loved. Next we have, let's do this one first. Okay, so technically we have two DNFs in the paperbacks, because this is actually two books in one. And one of the DNFs, one of the books that I did not like, is a part of this duology, and another DNF is a different book, which I will show you at the end. So I did DNF'd one in this duology, and I loved the other one. I DNF'd Fallen for Fortune by Nancy Robards Thompson, and I loved Fortune's Prince by Allison Lee. Now, Fallen for Fortune, I did not enjoy, because I DNF'd it after, like, I think the first chapter or two, because I did not like the hero and the heroine's first interaction. I felt like he was very, like, condescending to her, and I believe she works for him. She was like a secretary or something in his company. Yeah, I felt he was very condescending to her, and while she acknowledged that she found him good looking, she spent most of the time in their first, like, interaction and scene together thinking about how badly she felt, how he made her feel bad about herself. Yeah, and I didn't see, she told me that she found him attractive, but I didn't see why she would be attracted to him. Because then she went on for pages and paragraphs talking about how he made her feel like shit. So I'm not here for that, so I DNF'd that one. But then we went to the second one, which is Amelia and Fortune's Prince. Amelia and Quinn. Yeah, let's read the back blurb. Aristocrat Amelia Fortune Chesterfield heads back to Horseback Hollow to find her Texas roots and finds her future in the process. Rancher Quinn Drummond is unlike any man she's ever known, but after one magical night, the princess flees, shattering their happily ever after. Quinn is angry and hurt. Could a small miracle reunite the gun-shy cowboy prince and his princess? Enjoyed it very, very, very much. This one I would give a minus, maybe even a B plus. I liked it, and I enjoyed it. They have a one-night stand, and she's like royalty, and but she has like family in this small town, cousins or aunts or something, and I think she's there for a wedding, and meets the hero Quinn, and they have a one-night stand, and but then for some reason, and I can't remember why, she goes back to her life, and he is already, broody and, unwilling to have the feels, because he had been married and his wife did not treat him very kindly, and they divorced. So when Amelia disappears on him, he thinks again that he's been betrayed by someone that he loves. And then there's this like fake engagement where it's sort of an arranged marriage, but she doesn't really want to be married, and the guy likes her and I think promised like a relative or something that he would marry. So it's not something that like either both of them like are in love with each other, but for appearance's sake they keep it up. And then she discovers that she's pregnant by Quinn. So she comes back, hoping to maybe like resolve sort of like what they had with each other, but he can't forgive her, and there's all this sort of angst and drama and stuff. And I did really enjoy it. However, I felt like there was too much going on. Yeah, there was too much going on with them in scenes with like other people. Like, I felt like they had too many scenes with other members of their family. Like, I get that, they have a big family and they're all very close-knit and stuff. But I felt like it was out of proportion, so that you had all these scenes with their family members compared to, like, the scenes with the two of them alone, where I felt like you didn't get enough to develop the romance. So I liked it, and I enjoyed it very much, but I didn't love it. And there was no, for Quinn, the hero, there was no moment where he realized that he loved her. There was just her, like, forgiving him for being an asshat, and then they live happily ever after. Like, there was no, like, she was in the public eye, and he also had a problem with that, because the tabloids were always after her, and he was, like, not about that life. So that was a problem for them as well. But I just felt like we never got that moment of, like, realization in, like, the romances where the hero realizes, like, oh my god, I love this woman, and I need to do whatever I have to be with her. We never got that with Quinn. So I felt like he was an asshat. Not that he didn't have reason to feel the way that he did, but we never really got that realization from him that Amelia genuinely loved him and was not like his ex-wife, and was not, that she genuinely did care about him. We never got that. We never got him realizing and understanding that. It was just her forgiving him for being an asshat, and they lived happily ever after. The ending could have been much better. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. So we give it a B. Yeah, we give it a B. The next one was Karen Hawkins, Caught by the Scot. And I like this cover very much. I think his eyes are weird. I think the model probably had, like, brown eyes, and they, like, computer colored them blue. That's what it looks like to me, because, yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. So let's read the back blurb. Dashing Scottish privateer Connor Douglas must marry a respectable, well-born woman, and soon, if he wants to secure his rightful inheritance. Determined to still explore the high seas, as well as his mistress's beds, he aims to find a pliable wife who will turn a blind eye to his antics, and he knows just the woman. Childhood friend and mousy spinster Miss Theodora Cumberbatch Snow. Unbeknownst to Connor, Meakin playing Theodora has been hopelessly in love with him for years, but unwilling to wait forever for what will never happen. Theodora plans to wed a kind, if unexciting, local landowner, leaving behind the wild Highlander of her dreams. Yet Connor refuses to let his perfect wife get away. He chases her to Gretna Green and is shocked to discover the real Theodora is an ardent and wildly sensual woman. Soon, he realizes his passion to win her has nothing to do with securing his inheritance, and everything to do with earning the love of the unforgettable woman who has vowed to leave him in her past forever, but have his wandering ways chase the woman he loves away for good. Or can Connor convince Theodora to give him one last chance before she marries the wrong man? I very much enjoyed, loved it, enjoyed it. What I felt like, when he goes and chases Theodora to this inn where she is planning to elope with this guy Lance, and I felt like they spent way too much time in this inn. I found the pace, like, really, really slow. It just dragged in places. And I like how This was a guy that Theodora had loved since she was a fetus, basically. But he'd always looked at her as like a friend and like nothing more. So she finally decides, okay, I want a life of my own. I want a family. I want, to live. I want to have a life. So she finds this guy that she likes, doesn't necessarily love him like she loves Connor, but she decides he's good enough. He will make her happy, and she can live the life that she wants. And Connor decides that he needs to marry because his sister, who raised him and his brothers, left this inheritance for them, but they can only get it if they marry. It's that kind of, I need to marry you for the inheritance trope. So he decides that if that he wants to, find somebody that's not going to give him too much trouble and is going to let him live the life that he wants, and that he can marry and still get his inheritance. And Theodora is like, all the nopes, not going to do it. Nope, not going to marry you just so you can get your money. I'm already planning to marry this man, and we are going to be happy and go F yourself. But happy pants. They clearly develop feelings for each other, which she is trying to fight and he is trying to encourage, because he thinks, oh, a nice wife that I won't mind shipping, but will leave me alone and let me go do what I want. Bonus! Not so much. She does not want that. She does not want a husband who is going to, pop up every few months, give her a little, something, and then go off and, have these adventures and stuff without her. And, leave her at home. She's not about that life. But I really like how and this one suffered the same sort of thing. There was too much going on with them in scenes with other people. I wanted more of Connor and Amelia together. There was too many scenes where, he was talking, he was, with Lance, and he was, with his men, and, with Lance, her intended, and trying to, screw her over and put all these ideas in Lance's head to sabotage his relationship with Amelia. And then Amelia has this lady servant, I believe, Jane, who there's this wonderful little subplot with Lance and Jane when Lance starts to realize that maybe he doesn't want to marry Theodora after all, because he's starting to have happy pants for Jane, the lady's maid. So I really liked that subplot with Lance and Jane. They were really, really cute. They belonged together. And yeah, pace was too slow, too much time with other characters. I really liked how they resolved his Connor's issue of, he's a C. I'm not going to say that word because I'm a 12-year-old inside and it's going to make me giggle. He is a C person. And his heart belongs to the sea, and he could never, live a life on land, and that's why he wants to get married, but he still wants to live his life on the sea because that is who he is. He is a sea person, and he can't imagine, ever giving that up. So I really like his resolution, because her, when they finally come to realize that they love each other, she still has this issue of, I don't want to marry a man that I'm never going to see. You're going to go off and, like, have your adventures and stuff, and I'm going to be, like, alone, stuck at home. So I really like the resolution of him deciding, like, okay, I'm going to change careers from, and I guess this could be, like, spoiling it or what, but I really liked this resolution of how he came to it on his own. She didn't need to, like, bash him over the head with it. He came to it on his own because he loves her, and he was looking for a way to have both her and his love of the sea. And that he didn't have to give that up. I like when people don't have to give up their dreams to be with each other, men or women. So he decides that he could change careers from being a privateer to being a merchant ship, and that way she could come with him on his sea voyages to different places and, you know, sell his cargo and, like, all that kind of stuff. And half the time they could spend it at home and at, like, an actual, like, structured home and live a life like that, where, like, half the time they're on land and half the time they're on these sea voyages with their merchant business. So I really like how he came to that realization, and he solved that problem. Yeah, so I really enjoyed Karen Hawkins' Caught by the Scot. Pace was a little slow, and again, suffering from that thing of, like, they're spending too much time with other characters, not enough time with each other. Really liked the subplot of Lance and Jane, and the resolution made me happy. So, totally enjoyed that. For the last one is a DNF, sadly, because I had such high hopes for this book, because I'm all about my World War II fiction, and it was Those Who Save Us by Jenna Bloom. And we'll read the back blurb. For 50 years, Anna Schlemmer has refused to talk about her life in Germany during World War II. Her daughter Trudy was only 3 when she and her mother were liberated by an American soldier and went to live with him in Minnesota. Trudy's sole evidence of the past is an old photograph, a family portrait showing Anna, Trudy, and a Nazi officer. Trudy, now a professor of German history, begins investigating the past and finally unearths the heartbreaking truth of her mother's life. Those Who Save Us is a profound exploration of what we endure to survive and the legacy of shame. I loved the premise of this book, but the execution just did not work for me. The writing style did not work for me. The structure just, no. It's written in present tense, and there are no dialogue tags. Like, there's no, there's no dialogue tags. There's no, like, quotation marks to, like, differentiate, like, when somebody's talking. And, like, I don't understand how, this is going to sound snarky, and I don't mean it to be. There's all this praise for this book. You know, there's a quote from the Boston Globe, there's, like, San Francisco Chronicle, Jewish Book World, and I sincerely do not understand how this book got published. Just because of, like, the writing style of it. It's in present tense, and it's just, it's all, like, telling, not showing. There's no dialogue tags. There's no, like, every writing rule is broken in this book. Every style rule, every, like, grammar rule, I don't understand, and I don't mean for it to sound snarky, because I don't, that's not my intention. It's just, I don't understand how this book got published. How you send manuscripts to editors and they'll give you like form rejections, like, oh, this is not for us, or blah, blah, blah. And you read like all these tips and stuff about like how to like format your story and how to like what to do and what not to do and blah, blah, blah. This book does all the wrong things, format-wise, tense-wise, grammar-wise. I don't understand how Harcourt Press accepted the manuscript and said yes, and sent it through like the editing process, and the editors accepted that this was their final product. I don't understand. But yeah, I only got through like a few pages before the tense of it, the structure was unreadable to me. I couldn't follow, like, and it just felt like somebody was telling me what was happening. The style wasn't one that like drew you into the story. Like I don't understand how this gets like all this praise, and yet like romances that are like properly written get like trashed and like put down. I sincerely do not understand. I had hopes for it, but it let me down. It let me down in all the book-ish ways. So, yeah. What I'm reading right now is, let me see if I can get what I've started. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with it. I've only read a few pages yet. A few pages so far. So, Megan Bryce's To Tame a Lady. That's what I'm reading right now in ebook. Yeah, I'm only like 3 pages into it, so we'll see. And it's a historical romance, as you can tell. For my paperback nighttime read, I am reading Kate Morton's The Forgotten Garden. And I loved Kate Morton's The Lost Hours. That book wrecked me in like 75 different ways. And so I'm very much looking forward to this book emotionally destroying me as well. So that's going to be it for this week's video. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!